Alright, gentlemen, good afternoon. Alright, so this is our lesson on safety science. Um, and for as we continue in classes building technology, we will be doing a format like this where I'd go through the lesson in class, but also send a recap video in our WhatsApp group and on our online classroom for our references. So we did this on Friday, and this is specifically for Mr. Powery, who had a safe flight. So here we go. So safety signs. So with this video, we plan to understand what safety signs are and know why they're used, identify the different categories, the 4 categories, and at least be able to identify 2 examples of each category. And for assignment aspect of it, we should be able to draw and label correctly the safety signs from each category, and knowing how to adhere to all categories of safety sign and responding to emergency situation. So here we go. So safety signs. So safety signs are rules and regulations of the working environment. And pause there. So what are rules? Instructions that we ought to follow. So safety signs are just a very short way of stating safety rules. Safety rules, no playing in the workshop. See a safety sign? Probably an X over, a red X over a boy kicking a ball in the workshop. So simple as that. So they state rules and regulations of the working environment. And what are these? Why are these stated? To communicate to employees and other users. So they are put up so we as users of the working environment, as well as others around who may not be using the working environment but are affected by it, may be able to see and understand them clearly and abide by them. So we talk about construction on the work. So they're there for the construction workers, construction on the road. They're there for the construction workers, but they're also there for the road users. Excuse me for a minute, gentlemen. Hi. Hello, good morning. Yes, Miss Watson. I was just calling to see, well, 2 things. Miss Hall was here. She came for the key. Me and Miss Clark worked out something, but she didn't leave the dorm 1 key with me, and she was asking for it. So I was wondering if you knew anything about it. Okay. Okay. Yeah. All right. No problem. Alright, oh, the second thing was I just wanted to wonder if you have Miss Clark's number, but you answered that, so that's alright. Right. So yes, gentlemen. So they communicate with the employees and other users. And safety signs, it says it consists of written instructions, signs, and/or symbols with various color codes for specific hazards. So what that says, just a big way of saying it's made up of words, signs and/or symbols. Signs are symbols and different colors that are assigned for a specific reason or for specific hazards or specific dangers. Alright? So like if you realize, small example, stop sign is always red. Always red. Always octagonal. So as simple as that. So the purpose of safety signs, purpose of this regulation, this rule is to establish an internationally understood system of safety. And we hear the word internationally, it means then that it's worldwide. It's not just Jamaican, it's not just American if you're American, it's not just a country or a place, it's actually worldwide. So anywhere in the world, persons can go and understand what the sign is saying or what it's asking you to do. And it says, establish this system of safety that draws attention to equipment and situation that could and does affect our health and safety in any particular working environment. So the signs are to draw attention to any equipment or situation that could affect our health and safety. So if a sign that says forklifts around, and for those who don't know what a forklift is, it's those machines you see probably in hardwares where that lift up boxes and what's that thing called? The thing that lay barrels and boxes, and I can't remember. But yeah, they lift up items. They're mainly made for lifting items. So yeah, and it has two giant forks that attach to it. That's why it's called a forklift truck. But yes, so you see that sign. What it indicates to you that forklifts are in the area. Forklift trucks are in the area. So in order to be careful of where you walk or to just be aware of your surroundings, so if one is passing or driving, you don't get damaged by it. As simple as that. So you draw to your attention that forklifts are in the area. So signs do that. And the use of signs, these are used to give warnings of possible danger and must be obeyed. It's not a if or when, they must be obeyed. Must. Integral that they are obeyed. And yes, we talk say a lot of things, rules, safety signs, people don't obey. And it's true. But a lot of times people die too because they don't obey it. So similarly, you ought to obey rules. Rules are made to guide not just our behavior, but to ensure our safety under different conditions. And safety signs are no less. They're simple rules that just give us instruction to say, hey, wear a helmet. Because if you go under there without a helmet, you might get something falling in your head, which might lead to death. So yes, it's important. Why is it important? To be able to move freely, to navigate around the workplace by yourself, independently. That's what independently means. And safely to perform your job, your task, access food and bathroom. It says can be critical to anybody's success and productivity at work. So for you to be in an environment where you can do those things freely, whether it be access the bathroom, get your lunch, work, get from what point A to point B, all of these things, with the presence of signs, they allow you to be able to do that with ease and to be able to, and this affects how well you work and work successfully. So there are different types of safety signs, and long and short, you have three main types that we're focusing on. You have one, the picture sign with just symbols or pictures on it. You have two, signs with only text-based messages. And three, picture signs with a short message. So the first one, let me see if you can guess which one it is. Rashad, put on your hand. And Pinnock, wake up. Jeez, man. But yes, it's a picture sign. And you realize there are no words on it, just an image that clearly says, with a man with a red bar, crossbar, and a circle. Telling him that no person should be there, no trespassers. Simple as that. This next sign is the exit only sign. Simple text, exit only. It just means that this place, it might be on a gate that says that only exiting. Only exiting. And the next sign, slippery when wet. You realize there's an image showing a man slipping because of the ground being a different color, which would indicate like something like oil or water, something that may have spilled. So when the floor is wet, it is slippery, so be careful. So yes, and picture signs particularly are important. Why? Because they are used to reach many people as possible in the workplace. It says including persons with low reading ability. What that means is that persons whose comprehension level is very, very low. Them don't want to use the word dunce like what Damani did, which by the way, Mr. Miller is still a bit disrespectful. You do have persons who separate from and apart from persons who have who may not have tried to learn to read. You have those who have genuine reading disabilities or inability to form words with their brain. So like for even persons with that, or for persons with non-English speaking background, that means you come from a foreign country that speaks a foreign language like Spanish, French, German, Russian, Dutch, Chinese, or well, Cantonese, Italian. All of these things, you picture signs are essential because they illustrate something. So with a picture, they can literally see what is happening. So the categories of safety says that there are a wide range of signs in the workplace that allow a person to move around safely and with confidence. It's true, we said that earlier. But there are 4 categories that signs fall under. You have the warning signs, the prohibition signs, the mandatory signs, and the advisory or safe condition signs. So moving right along. So the warning signs now, it said that these give safety information of warning of a possible these give safety information of warning of a possible hazard or danger. So these just short and long and short warn you of dangers that could happen or risks. And what they're made of, they are triangular yellow signs with a black border, and they have a symbol in the middle. So warning, it gives you a warning off the bat. And here are some examples. To my far left, I'm looking at the screen. So far left, you see danger, electrical shock. You have the one with the flame, and you realize with the electrical shock one, it looks like a lightning bolt arrow. You have the one with the flame that says flammable liquid. Warning, flammable liquid. You have the slippery when wet, where we spoke about a while ago. You have the one with the skull and the crossbones, which means warning, dangerous chemicals. Some persons use it to also mark poisonous or toxic. And then you have those, the one with the forklift that I used as example earlier, that says forklifts in the area. Simple as that. And you realize you have, well, these different types. You have the, like the danger, electrical shock, warning, flammable liquid, or the slippery when wet. These are signs with a simple message. And then you have the forklift, which is only a sign. And here are some more examples. You can look at them and go through the same thing again. So now prohibition. And these are simple must not do signs. They indicate things that we must not do. That must not be done, must never be done. And these are simply circular white signs with red border and a red cross. It says a circular white sign with a red border and a red crossbar. Sometimes the crossbar would be an X, sometimes it would just be a 1/ across. So these are prohibition signs, must not do. And here are some examples. You might see, do not use mobile phones. Like you might see at a gas station, definitely at a gas station, no food or drink. Chang, you made mention of this on some buses. Do not drink. This one being specific from the no food or drink. Why? Because it is illustrating a pipe with a bucket there. So that means that it's pointing to somewhere specific that you must drink from, which may mean that the water is unhealthy or unsafe or toxic or something of the sort. And no entry sign, meaning do not enter. No exit sign, do not exit here. Children must not play on this site, which we mentioned in class that this is one sign that should be here on site while the construction is going on. Probably after the construction, they might put up the sign that says children at play or children on campus, so that vehicle persons driving now can drive cautiously. But right now, while on the construction site, you might say, you should be saying children must not play on this side. And no forklift trucks, which means that no forklift trucks should be in this area. So moving along. And the mandatory signs, these are the must do signs. So we had the prohibition, which are the must not do, and the mandatory no, which is the must do. So these are things that you must do. And they give instructions that must be obeyed. Now, regardless of what they say, they must be obeyed. And they are simple blue, circular blue signs with white symbols. and you will always see them. So you see the one in the middle about the protective equipment must be worn in this area, and then now wash your hands. So it indicates what things must be done. And here we have, you realize you will see it a lot for protective equipment or PPE, and them must be worn in a particular area. Simple example, so we can move along. And the last but definitely not least, the advisory sign. And these signs give information about safety provision or what is provided to ensure that we're safe. And these are square or rectangular green signs with a white symbol, or white signs with green symbol. Same difference. So you have just a few examples right here. Assembly point signs indicating that this area is an assembly point, and I don't remember who made mention. I think it was Renard, but then we were saying in class that the field would probably have a sign like this. So this could be one of those signs that will indicate that the school would need and should need. So you have the assembly point signs, the first aid sign, so the fire assembly sign, emergency exit sign, emergency alarm, fire exit, smoking area. These are things that are there, present in the environment, that you should be aware of. So they advise you of where they are. And just some more for your exampling. So now we had the do not drink earlier, and now we have the drink in water earlier. So criteria for placing safety signs. So what is saying, where should they be placed, or how should they be placed? And it says signs should be located where they are clearly visible, not somewhere where they can't be seen, clearly visible to all concerned. So we spoke earlier about the employees and other users. So we talk about road construction. Who other than the construction workers are using the road at that moment? The persons driving, persons walking across the road, buildings that may be nearby the road, and shops and houses. So because of these now, the signs need to be clear enough and big enough that persons can see them, as well as, or they can be, the signs can attract their attention, be read, and they can understand them with ease. And secondly, the height of the sign should be at the normal line of sight. What that is saying is that how high the sign is shouldn't pass your line of sight. And your line of sight is how the level that you can see while standing straight without tilting your head up or down and looking straight ahead. So that's the level that your eyes can see at while looking straight ahead. That's your normal line of sight. And the height of the sign should be at the normal line of sight for a standing adult. So for a standing adult, average range between 5, 7, 8, 9, and up to 6, 2, 3, thereabout. Anywhere between then, a normal line of sight could be. 3. Signs should not be placed on movable objects such as side sliding doors. In other words, you can't put a sign where it can be moved. If the sign needs to be seen all the time, then you can't put it on a door that when you slide it away, it's gone, so that person can't see it. It has to be placed somewhere that it won't move. And 4. Regulation and hazard type signs should be positioned in relation to the hazard to allow a person plenty of time to view the sign and take notice of the warning. And what this is saying is that these signs should be placed to allow the person reading them enough time to view it and to get ready for and take heed of the warning to prepare for whatever type of hazard is going to happen. So these are safety signs. And for your homework, last class I had asked you to do this. Make a list of at least 5 safety signs that our school needs. Thus far, while we went through it, only one person really indicated a safety sign. Well, two, but one was half done. Miller, thank you for hazardous, but as I said, hazardous what? You could talk about hazardous area, hazardous material, hazardous chemical, stuff like that. Need to be more specific. And Mr. Forrest for telling us about the slippery when wet sign. It's something that we do need while the ladies who help to clean, wipe up the floor, or if something should spill that don't get cleaned up, we can put the sign there to warn others. So I'm still looking forward for that. Everyone just find 5 safety signs that our school needs. And then over this weekend particularly, I want us to identify one sign from each of the 4 categories: warning, prohibition, mandatory, and advisory, and draw a representation of the signs identified on blank sheets each. So each one sign must be on a sheet by itself. And the signs must include the name of the sign underneath it, the category that the sign fall under, which is warning, prohibition, mandatory, advisory, any which one, and the purpose and use of the sign, which is optional. I just place it there, so in the event that you want to add, say, example, a stop sign, you want to say the stop sign is there to ensure that road users stop and look before they proceed, so to prevent accidents. You can put that little information there if you want to. Alright, so well done, gentlemen. Thank you so much. Here are some websites that we get some of the information from. You can look at them, get your information, go and do some additional reading for yourself. Thank you once again, and looking forward to see you on Monday bright and early. And this homework is due on Monday, gentlemen. On Monday, not Friday. Alright, enjoy the weekend.